Now, new figures show almost 1,000 people in Norfolk are turning to emergency help to cope with debt. Last year, 282 Norwich residents entered the government's so-called breathing space scheme. In King's Lynn, about 200 are in the scheme, and in Great Yarmouth, it's nearly 300, and that's one of the highest rates anywhere in England and Wales. The scheme, which is also known as the Debt Respite Scheme, gives people struggling with debt up to 60 days of protection from interest, charges and creditor action while they look for advice. Now, since it launched in 2021, more than 1,000 people in the Great Yarmouth area have used it. Mark Hitchcock is the Chief Executive of Norfolk Citizens Advice and joins us now. Mark, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having us.
We're talking about hundreds of people across Norfolk who are in this breathing space scheme. I imagine from the number of people that you are seeing at Citizens Advice, that probably doesn't come as a huge surprise, does it?
No, Chris, I'm a broken record, I'm afraid. We've been talking about the challenge of debt across Norfolk now for several years, and I welcome any attention to this issue. It's great that Deadline have been talking about the breathing space provision in particular, but that is hundreds of people, but there are thousands of people facing debt issues with a range of different tools, and we work with them every day, so this is not news, unfortunately.
No. How much difference does this breathing space scheme make? Is it just delaying the inevitable, or does it actually put people in a better position to be able to deal with their financial challenges?
Well, I think our debt caseworkers would say it's a really important tool for us. It's a temporary pause on creditor action, and in some cases those creditors can be quite active and purposeful, and that raises mental health issues as well. So giving us a chance just to stop that, to freeze the interest on debt, and also just to get people time to get good advice to agree a longer term solution, that's really important in making sure that people can address the situation and regain control without really losing their health over it, or potentially getting into a worse place. So it's a chance to take time to think and to stabilise budgets, really.
How do you actually make sure that you can take advantage of that? How do you activate a breathing space for yourself with this scheme? Because it sounds like it does make a big difference to lots of people.
Yeah, it's an important tool that we have, and the most important thing, as ever, is to come and get help. So to speak to a debt agency, a debt support service like Citizens Advice or Deadline, the most important thing is people in Norfolk get help. I'm not going to just push one service over another. All those debt advice lines and services will be FCA accredited, so making sure you're speaking to somebody who is registered to do that kind of work. And what people are going to find is that those debt caseworkers, many of my colleagues, are very welcoming people. They are going to sit you down. They're not going to be judgmental. They're not going to increase your stress or embarrassment or shame. I think most people see my great colleagues as just the key to unlocking the whole problem. And they'll go through the issues. They'll understand the background to your budget and all the different intricacies of people's lives, because everybody's financial health is different. And then they'll look at a range of different options that are available to different types of people, and breathing space is one that's available to quite a few people who are facing significant debt.
Is there, I know the cost of living has been biting for a while now, and with the situation in the Middle East and lots of other pressures, prices of things are only going up. Is there a particular familiar story you're getting at the moment? Is there one thing that is pushing people into debt at the moment?
Not really, no. So over the last 3 or 4 years, when we've been talking about cost of living, we've seen debt appearing in a range of different areas. So previously, maybe you would have just seen store card debt, for example, but now debt is being incurred in every possible part of life. One of the key drivers, obviously, is energy debt, and it's been that way now for about 3 years. And in 2 months' time, we're expecting a significant increase in the pay cap, in the energy cap. So the cost of that is likely to increase. And I'm sure the people that we're talking about in these communities today, people across Great Yarmouth, for example, have felt the cost at the petrol pump in the last 3 weeks. I know I have. That's going to increase costs across the whole piece. So we may see food prices and travel prices going up significantly. So people just try and make the best of that. They will incur debt in a range of different places. So the people that come to us are coming in with debts in 4, 5, 6, 7 different places. You just try and make your way through life and get through. And what we're finding is, obviously, once you lose control of that, that's when it can become unmanageable and very stressful. And that's why trying to get some help from a recognised service to unpick it and to make sure that we give you the different services that you need is really key. There are other tools out there as well. I think it's important that many listeners don't sort of fixate on the breathing space piece. It's a really important sign that there's a debt issue in these areas, but there are other tools that we have. So the most important thing is to say, make sure you reach out and get that financial health check that everybody needs at some point, I think.
Yeah, Mark, thanks very much for your advice. I think that's the important thing, that whenever Mark or anybody from Citizens Advice or any of these other great helpful areas comes on, is that it is just to make sure you do seek support. Don't just keep it quiet, because things will catch up with you. Actually, you often find, whatever your particular circumstances are, that there is some support there for you. Usually it's just trying to match that up with you, and sometimes you can only do that if you go through an organisation like Citizens Advice. So thank you to Mark Hitchcock for being with us this morning. He's the Chief Executive of Norfolk Citizens Advice.